But I love to eat fish, I love to feed it to my friends and family, and I hope that this will still be a food that we can turn to 10, 20, 50, 100 years from now. But if we're going to achieve that, we have to make the industry sustainable. There will always be, pretty much always be, some form of extractable, catchable fish protein out there. I don't think we'll find our seas completely empty of fish, but what we'll find is more and more unhealthy and less productive marine ecosystems, unless there is a better regulated, more sustainable system of fishing internationally.
The fishing restrictions, they've had quite a big impact. If you do buy a cod, which is perfectly okay to eat, try and use the whole fish, you know, make some soup out of the bones and the head, use everything, the skin, the lot. Charities and organisations like the Blue Marine Foundation are trying their best to get fishing areas like this, trying to get the fishermen to fish a bit more seasonally, or to ban fishing completely in certain areas, which from whether it's trawling or dredging is a good thing, I think, but there's certainly a lot of scope for line caught fish.
Well, Lyme Bay is already a marine protected area, is already a reserve of sorts, and the Blue Foundation, who I've worked with closely and who I know, what they're really proposing is to manage the reserve in a different way, to ensure the principal level of protection inside, sometimes referred to as the box, inside the Lyme Bay Reserve. But one of the immediate effects of declaring it a reserve was that fishermen who'd been using this kind of gear changed gears and started using the kind of things that are still allowed, has come along and said, look, if these marine reserves are going to work, not just as conservation tools for soft corals, but as ways of supporting the fishing industry through healthier fish stocks, then we have to manage the fishing inside. The kind of fishing techniques that are still allowed, we have to manage them inside the reserve better. So in the last year, I've been to Thailand, where they farm prawns. Now, most of the king size or jumbo prawns that we now love to eat in this country they pretty much all come from tropical waters, and most of them are farmed. You might at first think, well, farming prawns, that's got to be better than trawling them out of the sea. So you might think prawn farming is the way to change that and improve the environmental profile of the prawn industry. It's simple. But unfortunately, catching the fish that were being turned into fish meal for the prawns were fishing inside the marine reserves, illegally, with illegal meshes. And the government's turning a blind eye, and the companies buying the feed are turning a blind eye, and the British supermarkets buying the prawns from those guys, all turning a blind eye to this problem.
I try and use locally sourced fish. Sometimes we have to go a bit further down the coast, because as you can see, on a day like this, there's quite a few boats out today, and during the summertime, we try as much as possible to really use everything locally. But when I say locally, I really mean within a few miles. I think the local topic, the current topic of mackerel fishing, we've all suddenly said, oh, we can't eat mackerel anymore, but that's not the case. Line caught mackerel, you can go out here in season and catch bucketfuls of mackerel, and you can eat them. It's really those big factory ships that are sort of scooping up, well over the quotas in the ocean. The key at the end of the day is wherever you buy your fish from, whether it's from a local fishmonger, whether it's straight from the boat, they should all be able to answer the question of where it's come from and is it sustainable.